I give my AI agents 5 very normal jobs. Here's the simplest one. Whenever you log into an app and they email you one of those codes, it's a pain to go back to your email inbox, and I always have iMessage open. So I have an agent that's looking at my email inbox, and anytime I get one of those sign-in codes, it texts it to me. Another one organizes everything I read and saves it in my own system. So if the website or the app I'm reading it on goes away, I have all of the original content, and then it tags it by topic to show me how everything's related. Another one helps me manage my family calendar, which is complicated, especially during the school year. One checks my email inbox every hour and sorts my emails, unsubscribes, and tells me when there's something important enough that I need to actually look at it. I even had an agent monitor my home network when I redid all of my Wi-Fi, and for 3 days it kept logs and helped me troubleshoot all my networking issues. Now, it doesn't really matter which apps you use or which agents. You can make these work with anything. I'm just going to show you how I set up each one of these and what they do for me in my personal life every day. So first, what do I mean when I say AI agent? How's that different than chatting with Claude or ChatGPT? To me, an agent is an LLM, but it also has tools and it can do things autonomously, maybe on a time schedule, or when something happens, it's triggered, and then it can actually go do something outside of a chat box for you. I don't have one robot that runs my entire life. These are different little assistants is how I think of them, but each one has tools and a job, and they can run these in the background without me having to go prompt them. That's what makes them an agent. So here's the first one. How do you get an agent to send you login codes from your email as a text? I'm on Mac and iPhone, so I like iMessage for everything. It's on my laptop, it's on my phone, it's on my watch. I hate when I go to log into websites and they send you those 6-digit codes to your email, because if they send it to your phone, it's easy to just copy and paste. It pops up for you on your Mac. But I use Poke, which is basically an iMessage-based assistant, and I connect it to my personal email and say, anytime you see one of these login codes come in my inbox, I want you to text it to me so I don't have to switch tabs, go to Gmail. Sometimes I'm not even logged into the right Gmail, and it takes like 45 seconds to go find it and switch in context. Instead, just text it to me in iMessage, and then I have it right there on my screen and I can log in. Now, with this premise, you could do that with anything that you want to get into your FedEx, USPS, whatever. Let me know and send me a link to track it. Or anytime you get a message about this is going to arrive today, text me on that morning. So the idea is basically take things from your inbox that you're not going to look at very often and put it into my iMessage so I know it's important. So just think about anything that comes into your inbox that you're not seeing in real time, but you would want an agent monitoring and deliver it to you in a channel that you do have open all the time, like iMessage, Telegram, Discord, or Slack. Now, that first one's really simple. The second one, I use an agent to organize everything that I read and to archive it for me. So here's an issue all of us have had. You bookmark some awesome Substack or blog post, and then you're on a different device without that browser. You don't have the link. Or you find something on social media, like an X article, and it goes away, or you're not logged in and you just can't access that even though you put it in your favorites. So what I do is I have an agent that takes any link I send it, and with one word, ingest, it scrapes the content. Basically, it copies and pastes the whole article into an Obsidian vault for me, basically a local file that I now can keep and own. And it'll put the link to that in there, and usually links are good. But even if they took down the blog or that website got shut down, I still have that article. And the way you set this up is, one, it needs browser access. If you're going to scrape things from social media like a YouTube transcript, Instagram, for me, Twitter articles are great for tech stuff. You do need an API key or an app that can give you access with an MCP. So I use X API key to be able to read any tweet. I don't have it post for me, but it can read anything. And then it can go in just like it's logged in as me and scrape all of that content into my Obsidian vault. And then what's really cool is, besides having it, you can tag it with things like AI, research, marketing, learning, productivity, fitness, whatever those topics are. and your agent can turn it into a wiki and show you related topics. So all of your fitness articles are tagged over here, and all of your research and AI articles are tagged over here. And then you own the content, it's connected, and in one word you can just send it, hey, ingest, here's the link. Another way I use it is my agent knows when it's going to ingest something, what are the topics I'm interested in, and it'll tell me which parts of the article are actually relevant. And my favorite thing is sometimes I'll send it an article. I sent it one yesterday, and it'll say, there's nothing really that relevant for you, so I'm gonna document this and archive it, but you don't need to read it right now. And it's like having an assistant who proofreads all these long articles that sound interesting, but sometimes they're just AI slop, or they're not actually that relevant to you, or it got you to click on it, but it's really not worth reading. And you can have your agent evaluate what's relevant and prioritize that for you. But the best thing about this one is it doesn't matter what browser you're in. If you use one of those bookmarking apps like Matter, those are cool, but they're always changing, they're shutting down, and then you lose your own system. So just put it somewhere locally. I like an Obsidian Vault. It's just markdown files on your computer. And then no matter what app comes and goes, you still have all of your content. Now the third one is huge if you have a family. I have a wife, I have 3 school-age kids. They have after-school activities, sports practices, choir concerts. I have stuff to do. My wife works 12-hour shifts in healthcare. It's really hard to manage all of that. So when my son will come home with a birthday invitation, like a printed out card, I have an agent that manages my family calendar. All I do, if it's physical, is I'll take a picture, open up my Hermes agent, but you can use anything that has access to your calendar, and say, schedule this. And it knows we have a Google Calendar shared called McKelkey Family Calendar. It'll put the address of the birthday party, the date, the time, the name of the kid. I can even have it remind me to get him a gift. And then it puts a fingerprint and it'll say, Aaron's Hermes agent on July 12th, put this on the calendar, so that my wife knows it wasn't me manually or her manually. And any agent that has access to your calendar can go read it and give you a briefing of the week or whose turn it is to pick up the kids after soccer practice. But it can also edit your calendar, like add a vacation or add my work schedule. Besides taking pictures of those, if you get digital links to things like an invitation to something, you can just forward that and say, hey, here's this event I want to go to in Spokane on July 18th, link. It has a web browser. It can read the time, the date, the location, the sign up link, and put that on your calendar. So with natural language, you can just say, put fishing trip on the family calendar these 2 days, or say, when is my son's next soccer practice? And then instead of opening your calendar app and typing the name and entering the location, you can just have your agent manage your family calendar. My pro tip though is make sure you use a fingerprint. So any agent that makes a change, have it put in the notes what agent and what date it made that change, so you can debug it if it gets messy or duplicated. Now, use case number 1 with my agent was about sending me codes and important info from my email, but what about just day-to-day managing my inbox? Any agent that you can give access to your Gmail account can do this for you. What I have mine do on weekdays is every 30 minutes during working hours, it's going to open my inbox and it's going to look at new messages and it's going to triage them. Now, you could have it just apply labels like urgent, important, not important, but you can also have it do things like let you know when something important comes through in a message, or you can have it unsubscribe from things. So one that I do is any kind of cold outreach, trying to sell me something, hey, let's jump on a call. I have it delete that and unsubscribe if I can. If it's something important that's coming from a VIP, so you could say like who your manager and your teammates or your spouse, whatever people would be important, if they email you, you get a message in Telegram, iMessage, wherever you're going to interact with your agent, and it just says, hey, FYI, your wife emailed you the power bill, make sure you pay it, or whatever you want to be notified, and then you can just have it run. My favorite way to do this is actually with Cursor, and you can put a cloud agent in your email and just have it triage everything. It sounds a little risky to let it archive and unsubscribe, so what I did is I gave it shadow mode. So for a week, it didn't take any actions, but it had instructions to say, if I were taking actions, I would have deleted this email, unsubscribed this email, texted you about this one, etc. And you can just test it on shadow mode for a week. And then once you're good, you can remove that and say, now actually do the action with those email inbox items. And then you don't have the silly go check 2, 3, 4 times a day just to like get rid of calendar invites and random cold emails that get through your filter. Now, my last one is actually networking. I will confess, I know very little about networking, but I got a new internet service provider. It's fiber before I was on cable. I have new routers, a new network, and I was having some issues. And rather than sitting there reading articles online or watching YouTube videos on how to troubleshoot my connectivity problems, like I was getting dropped from Zooms regularly, I just opened up my agent. In this case, it was Codex, but anyone that's on a device that's on your internet. And I just said, hey, here's what I did. Here's the problems that I'm having. Can you just monitor this for me? And it set up the schedule to basically run like a speed test. Instead of me going in my browser to speedtest.net every 30 minutes and trying it, just automate that in the background. And then I had it connect to my Zoom and tell me like the ping and the speed for upload and download, and then log all of those in a spreadsheet over almost a week. And then it could just basically show me, here's what your network is doing and where the problems are. Now here's how we fix it. And it just ran in the background. And it was awesome because I didn't have to waste time trying to troubleshoot it myself. And I had all this data collected while it's just sitting on my laptop plugged in over 5 days. And I don't have to go run speed tests and see if my Zoom will drop me or not. And the idea is basically, because it's on my network and on a device, it can troubleshoot stuff for me. So maybe it's not your home network, maybe it's getting connected to a new printer, and you just say, here's my network I'm on, here's the new printer, help me figure this out. So here's what these jobs have in common. Take a routine thing that happens regularly that you don't want to have to spend your time on and pass it off to an agent. And remember that definition of an agent, it's an LLM, it's like an AI model, but it has to have tools. So as long as it can log into that account or has a connection to that app or is on that network, you can just delegate it a task and say, here's what I want you to do, when I want you to do it, here's a guardrail of what I don't want you to do. So if you're trying to find ways to plug in agents to your everyday life, just think, what are these tasks? I can't tell you how annoying it used to be to get a flyer from my son's second grade teacher with 8 different events coming up in the next month, and I'd have to open the calendar app on my phone, manually type in the date, the location, and the time for each of those, and then put it on the right calendar, make sure it's shared with my family. Now I can just take a picture of that whole thing or a screenshot if it's digital and say, do this for me. And those everyday, annoying, repeatable tasks are great ones to point your AI agents at and give them the tools to be able to do for you. Thanks for watching today. I hope this gave you some ideas on where to plug in the AI agents in your life. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and I'll teach you more ways I use Cursor, Codex, Hermes, and AI agents in my everyday life.